Hello, everyone. I hope I can do justice to that amazing introduction. And I'm very, very happy to be here with you, especially on World Engineers Day. But right before this presentation, I was talking to all the girls who had applied for the Tejaswini Award, and I was completely amazed with the talent, the clarity, the sortedness that these girls had. And then I had a really difficult job to do. I had to pick the best out of those 7 kids. And it was an impossible task because they all were amazing in their own place. So this year, instead of just awarding the top 3 girls, we're going to award all of them. And I kept thinking to myself, 23 years ago when I graduated from here, did I have this level of clarity? Absolutely not. You guys are way, way, way ahead of the curve from where we started our journey. So I'm very, very humbled, very happy, very, very excited to be here with all of you. All right. So the topic for today's discussion is how can corporations do more for the society, right? We all live in the society. It's all important. We all have our careers to think about. We either will have professional careers or will have entrepreneurship goals in life. But at the end of it, if you earn money, what is it that you are going to do for the society? What can companies do for the society? So I hope to inspire all of you to think about how you are going to navigate your professional life by keeping some of the ideas that we discussed today in mind as you make your decisions. Okay, I'm also going to invite Mayuri to the stage to share some of the work that we do with Exxat's Patshala. She's very, very involved with it. So yes, we do sponsor it, but she's the one who helps make it real. So it would be more interesting for all of you to hear from her than from me. So I will split the talk. I'll do the first part of it, set the stage for her, and then Mayuri will come and share the real stories of what it is to like run Patshala on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so let's get started. If I say the word role of corporation in the world, what do you think about? What's the first word that comes to mind? Raise your hand. I know you guys can think and you guys are very, very smart. So share. What is the one word that comes to mind? What do all the companies talk about when they talk about their company's social responsibility? What's the word? Come on, one of you raise your hand and tell me. Is it CSR? What does CSR stand for? Corporate social responsibility. Okay. So all of us think that companies that become successful have to do something for the society. But I want to challenge that thought process. And that is what engineers are supposed to do, right? Think about world problems and think about solutions and think about the status quo and decide if they want to change what exists today. So a lot of companies feel good about themselves when they do their CSR responsibilities well, which is a must. Like, I'm not recommending that people don't do their CSR, but we are going to dive a little bit deeper into this. Okay, so do you think that CSR applies to all the companies? Does CSR apply to all the companies? Yes, no. How many of you think yes? Raise your hand. Let's make this interactive. Raise your hand. How many of you think CSR applies to all the companies? Okay. How many of you think CSR doesn't apply to all the companies? Okay, and what do the rest of you think? Okay, well, this is from the government's website. CSR does not apply to all the companies. You have only every company having net worth of 500 crore or more, any company having turnover of rupees 1000 crore or more, and every company with net profit of 5 crore or more. Only companies that fall in those three buckets have to actually do the CSR by law. How many business owners do you know who have companies, who have a business, but they don't fall in this bucket? Right? So, is CSR going to help the society as much if all the companies don't even have to do it? It's a government law, but it only applies to a small percentage of the company. Okay, now next question. You guys have to answer it because I made it into a question answer format. What is the percentage of contribution that companies have to do for CSR? Anybody knows the answer? Okay, 2% of their profit. This is again from the government's website. You are only expected to contribute 2% of your profit to the CSR activity. Okay? Now, why am I taking you through all of this math? Let me see if a slide will help you. You guys are all data analysts. Look at data, make sense out of it, analyze it. So let's walk through what it means. A company that has a revenue of 100 crore. Okay, are you guys following? A company with a revenue of 100 crores means they're selling something that is worth 100 crores. Typically, companies make 8 to 10% of profit on their revenue. So if a company's revenue is 100 crore, on an average, how much profit do you think they're making? 10 crore. Okay, so that's the second line. From that 10 crore, after all the deductions, all the tax savings, everything, they have to pay 20 to 25% of that money as taxes. So how much is that? 2 crore. And 2% of it, of 10 crore, is what they have to pay for their CSR. How much is that? 20 lakh rupees. So a company that is making 100 crore in revenue each year is responsible to pay 20 lakh rupees for their CSR activity. Okay? So if we all sit back behind and say, our job is to only worry about our career, our growth, our life, and CSR will take care of the needs of the society. Will that work? Is 20 lakhs going to help take care of the big, hairy problems of the society? No. Also, how many of you have expected the government to take care of some of these problems? Again, they are also getting a very small percentage of the pie, so they can fix all the problems for us. So, my appeal to you is to think about where that companies have control over that 100 crore pie. What if we did something more creative with that 100 crore bar rather than waiting for the 2 lakh bar or 20 lakh bar or the 2 crore bar to make a difference in the world that we live in? So I'm going to share with you three examples of companies that I know that do outstanding work. And I apologize already in advance. All my examples are US companies. does not mean that Indian companies do not do good for the society. In fact, there are more Indian companies that are socially conscious because of the country that we live in. But it is because I live in America that I have these as examples. Okay, I read about them and I talk about them with my friends, so they are more closer to my memory. But I'm going to talk to you about how companies that have control over that 100 crore are making a difference in people's lives. Okay? Anybody, show of hands, anybody has heard about this company? Bombas Socks. Anybody from the audience knows about it? Raise your hand if you do. Okay. It's a company in America that sells socks. And the way they sell their socks and their tagline for their socks is, for every sock that they sell, one sock is donated to a person in need. Okay? Now, this sounds like a really good company. If I go into the mall and I see two socks, one from this company, one from the other company, I am more likely to pick up a sock from them because I know that they stand for something more than just profit. This is, in fact, an amazing marketing strategy. So not only is it that these people are doing something good, they are letting me as a consumer also feel good about it. There are on Nasdaq's index in US, it's the stock exchange of US, there are special funds that only invest in companies that are socially conscious. And this company qualifies as a socially conscious company. So this company does well because for every sock that they sell, they donate one. So the person who receives that donation benefits from it. I, as a consumer, feel good about spending my money with a company like this. Investors who invest their money feel good about investing money in a company that does this. And to top it all, it helps with their marketing and their bottom line. So now their CEO is able to sell more and have more leverage. So his 100 crore bar keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and he is able to eventually do more for the society. Why am I sharing these examples with you? Because very soon you all will be graduating and you all will be taking up your first jobs or thinking about starting your own companies. We all live in Gujarat. Gujarat is the most prosperous state in India and known for its business entrepreneurial mindset. So a lot of you might decide to do companies. These are good ways for you to think about how to base your business model. Beyond all the good that they do, this company's efforts is their best reason for their growth. So it's doing good for the society can actually be really good for business. That's the message I want to convey for you. Okay, this is the next company. Tom's. How many of you have heard about this? Raise your hand, guys. I know. Okay, one person. Anyone else? Okay, they also have a very similar mission. For every Tom's shoes that they sell, they donate one shoe. Now, this company started back in 2007. They did really well. They went to the top of the stock market. Their shares were worth a lot. The company was worth a lot. They got good valuation, good market share. It was a very, very successful company. And then the company got bankrupt. So the point I'm trying to make here is just because you have a tagline or a marketing line or a company mission that says you will do good for the society doesn't automatically make your company work. You still have to make the right strategic decisions, the right business model. You have to make sure you're growing the company systematically, etc., etc. Over the last few years, they have changed their motto. So instead of saying you buy one shoe, we donate one shoe, they've changed it to say that for every $3 in profit that they make, they will donate $1 to the people in need. So business models have to evolve, business models have to change. You have to continue to make good strategic decisions for running your business. But if you are able to pair up a social cause with your business model, it is like recipe for great success. Okay, this is my last example in this series. Then I have a few more companies that are doing really well. But this another company is also one of those companies that has a business model that says you buy one cereal bar from us and we will feed one kid in hunger who is hungry. Okay, so that bar, the bar is called the bar that saves life. This company is also doing really, really well. Okay, so these are just examples for you to get inspired, not just for you to think, where do I work? Which companies do I go to work for? Which companies do I invest my money in? But also when you want to set up your companies, how should you set them up? I do a lot of interviews when I hire people in my company, and I will always end my interview with, so what is it that you want to know about my company? And sometimes I'll get questions, other times I don't get any questions. But when you sit for your interviews, it's a really good time for you to ask the company, the person who's interviewing you, so how is your company setting themselves apart? What is it that they are doing? How does your business model support your social responsibility? Not just worry about the 2% profit that they will donate to CSR and feel good about. By no means am I saying that CSR is not an important thing. I'm saying it's just not enough. And so we need to think about starting companies, doing work with companies that have an evolved business model. Doing this really well. Standard Bank is another company. This is my second out of the 3 examples that I'm going to share with you. Standard Bank works in Africa. So does a lot of other banks. Standard Bank in Africa also, just like India, you have to contribute 2% of your profits to helping the society. But they are not stopping at that. You know what they have done? They have created a trust fund from that 2,000 that from the 2% money that they would donate. From that trust fund, they make loans to farmers who would otherwise not qualify to get loans. Because these are loans, these farmers have to repay the loan, and then they use that money to give more farmers loan. Now they have tied their own success with the success of the farmers who are getting the loans in Africa. And because of that, they have a lot of incentive to teach these farmers how to do their business as well. So these micro loans, these coaching classes, this strategy classes, this marketing sessions that they teach these African farmers is helping the farmers be successful. And because the farmers are successful, they are repaying the loans. And because they are repaying the loans, more farmers are being awarded those loans. And so it's a really, really good positive cycle that they have been able to establish in Africa. And so now, if a farmer or anybody in his family who has benefited from this wants to open a bank account, which bank will they go to? Standard Bank. What is every bank's dream? That they increase their footprint, that they have more members, more subscribers, more people are creating accounts with them, and more people are depositing money in those accounts. Standard Bank is doing that by first thinking about who they need to help, and then it's automatically helping their company grow. Okay, my last example is Airbnb. I'm sure more people know about Airbnb. Raise your hand if you have heard about this company. Okay, great. All right. So, and how many of you have actually used this company to make a reservation? Okay, good. All right. So, Airbnb is what a lot of Americans use. Actually, everybody around the world uses them to book rooms or houses when they're traveling. So I took my entire family to Italy and I booked a villa using Airbnb. It was easy. I told them which city I wanted to go to, and I could see hundreds of options. I could read what my amenities that I cared about, because my mom wanted to cook when we were in Italy. So I needed a place with a kitchen, etc., etc. It was extremely easy to find the type of housing I needed by looking up the website of Airbnb. Airbnb makes millions of dollars. How strong do you think that IT team is? Very good, right? And what is the mantra of IT? What do you consider a good product? A product that is simple to use, right? Actually, they say, Steve Jobs used to say this, that in order to make something simple, you have to make it very complicated in the back. If you can master that complexity, you can provide a good user interface for your products. So Airbnb has cracked that. They pay their CTO millions of dollars. They pay a high-performing IT team. They have great UI UX engineers. They have amazing product managers. They have a really, really good competitive product. They have a huge market share in it. They're giving a lot of hotels a run for their money. They've really, really figured out what somebody who is looking for housing needs to do. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Recently, in the last 2 weeks, we have seen two global disasters. One in Morocco with their earthquake, where 3,000 plus people died. Another in Libya with the flood, where more than 5,000 people died. Everything over there is devastated. There are no homes to their home because it is not safe. Now, people area of these disasters want help. But how do you help? How do you find out? So many people have become homeless. They need a shelter. And so many people from across the country and the world are going to that area to help. You know, Red Cross goes there. When we had a disaster in Kutch, so many people from other parts of the world went there to help, right? So when people from outside come to your city and there is a disaster and there is no place to stay, how do they help the people who need help? So Airbnb did an amazing thing. They said, if we declare some area as a disaster area, anybody can list their home for free. They have to pay no commission to the company. And anybody can book a room or a hotel or a couch or a house for free on their website. They've already figured this out. Who otherwise, Airbnb, without spending even $1 on actually donating to some cause, they have figured out how to really support the people who are trying to make a difference in those communities. If we were to give the same amount of money to Red Cross and tell them, oh, you want to go help them? Why don't you create your own app? How much money would they have to spend on creating that app? Would they be able to afford the CTO from Airbnb? Would they be able to afford the same type of engineers to create that app? Probably not. So Airbnb solved a big problem for disaster zones without spending an extra dollar and figured out how to help them. And then the same people, when they want to book their next vacation, are going to book it where? On Airbnb. So this is an amazing company strategy to use your work, the work that you are doing, pair it up with the work that and the support that the company and the country needs to figure out how to make a big difference there. I'll end with an example from Exxat. So we don't do anything as amazing as what Airbnb does, but this is our small little effort. So Exxat sells its software to medical healthcare universities in America. So all my clients have medical degrees. They are a nurse, they are a doctor, they are a physical therapist, they are a social worker. Every client that we now have more than 1,000 universities using our software. Everybody we have is a medical professional. We also have offices for Exxat in Baroda and Bangalore and Pune. And in Pune, there is an orphanage that is not too far from our office that has 50 plus kids. But these kids don't get the same medical attention that they need. There is also a small community hospital that they have built. And they also always struggle to get doctors and volunteers to help with the medical process. So we decided that we were going to pay the money to bring these medical doctors from America to spend a week here with the kids and in that community and provide healthcare to the people. Now, these clients are donating their own time. We are paying for their transportation and their accommodation, and the community is getting benefit. Right? So it's a small, very minuscule thing, but you have to put your thoughts into the work that you are doing. Okay, so this is one thing that I hope makes you think about when you start your company, what are the kind of things you do. But the other thing, okay, so I'll leave you with this thought before we go to Mayuri and learn more about Pathshala. But the thought I want you to leave with is that businesses are responsible for solving the biggest problems of the society. They have to bring their people, their capital, their strategies to solve these problems and not hope that the donations that they are making with their CSR funds would be enough to solve these big problems.